好，开始。
Hi, Dr. Shi. Thank you for taking the time. It's my great pleasure to have this brief talk with you. I know that you've been on holiday in the last couple of weeks and you've been back to work and you've been already on your next holiday, not holiday, I mean work. Yeah, it's already 11 o'clock in the evening, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Right.
Today, I have some simple questions for you because, you know, our community members are really curious to know more from your perspective what XR, what spatial computing is about, and it's our great pleasure that you would love to spend 1 hour time to talk directly with our users. So let's get started.
Mhm.
First of all, I would
Mm.
love to invite you give us a pretty brief self-introduction. When and why did you join OPPO?
Uh, Thank you for having me, by the way. Hi, my name is Yi. I joined the OPPO back in 2019, before COVID. Uh, so it has been more than 4 years. During these 4 years, I've been focusing purely on XR. I think the reason I joined OPPO was because OPPO by that time set out to go to investigate in the field of XR, and we had this opportunity to start from scratch, to build a team, and to develop some great products. So during these 4 years, we've been working on many different things. We have worked on a few different prototypes, ranging from AR to smart glasses and to MR. So it has been a really fun journey for me. During the process, I learned a lot. Uh, it has been a great ride so far.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this amazing ride for us. I know it's not easy, especially during the COVID times, working in remote offices. So I'd like to know something about how does it feel to work in
Yeah,
US for OPPO, especially I think some of the team members are working from Shenzhen in HQ.
right, right. Actually, most of the Scotland and Shanghai, and it has really been a challenging, really challenging for us in the US team. So typically I typically tell people like I basically have two jobs, right? I have a day job where we have a US team, we have US based operation, we have some meetings in the daytime, and then when the evening time comes, I always need to have calls, right? Telephone calls, virtual conferences with teams uh, in Shenzhen. So it feels I have two jobs, right? So, but it's also very fun to work in the US team. Sometimes because we are so close to the, especially for XR, right? We are so close to the epicenter of XR, right? All these big companies, they are pouring a lot of resources into XR, Meta, Google, Apple now, right? So I think being in the center of XR development in Bay Area is also really important, which really helps us to push forward this field.
Yeah, talking about Epic Center, I heard from some colleagues working in US that our office is actually between Meta and Google. Is that right? So yeah, actually is just in a in the
It's actually a
center of
very
yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, it's actually a very accurate. It's a very accurate description. So we are basically located in between. If you draw a line from Menlo Park, Facebook's headquarters, to Mountain View, Google's headquarters, we are actually in the middle, right in the middle along what we call 101, which is a freeway. So we can really close. We can travel to Google and Facebook 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, that's a pretty sweet spot for XR experts like you. Yeah, you were talking about
Yeah,
the challenges
yeah, I
of
see.
managing teams between Shanghai, Shenzhen, and California. I know it's not easy. Actually, the company should pay you double since you're working long hours. Like like now, I'm spending your sleeping time. And yeah, but I can feel that you are enjoying this challenge, and also I believe you had many stories to share by the time we have our AMA. But first of
Sure.
all, in this interview, I'd like to ask, because a lot of our users are really interested to know what is actually
Hmm.
AR, VR,
Right,
MR, XR, spatial computing. There are
right.
a lot of these concepts coming in the last 2, 3 years. So from your perspective, can you give us some like simple words to some
Yeah,
simple explanations?
right. I think we can get started with AR and VR, right? So uh, AR means augmented reality, so right. So basically, what it means is that you're still seeing your world, right, in some way, and then by the computer can augment the world you are seeing by placing virtual objects, digital objects, overlaying them onto your real world. Then you are seeing something which is a blend of virtual and real, but the majority of the content is from your real world. So that's AR. VR on the other side, it's mostly virtual, right? So you immerse yourself in a different world. So that's VR. These are, I think, they are quite common words and have really definite uh, 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 definitions. But the word MR, which is sort of a very recent word, it's kind of vague. It can mean a lot of things. Originally, from the academic field, MR really it's kind of a term which encompasses a lot of different things, right? MR originally AR is sort of part of MR, and also there's other things called augmented virtuality, which means you still have a VR, but you augment that VR world with something from the real world. So mostly it's still virtual, but you have a small part of it. Thinking about, for example, you put your real hand into a virtual world. It's called AV. So MR is kind of AR uh, plus AV originally from the early works in the academic field. But nowadays, MR have different meanings and the different companies call different things MR. At the beginning, I think Microsoft HoloLens, they call them MR glasses, but they are what we scientifically call them, they are actually AR and optical see-through AR because for their AR, it's actually you see the world through a transparent lens, right? So it's optical see-through. So optical see-through, I think Microsoft call optical see-through MR for a while, and nowadays different company like Qualcomm and Meta, they use the MR to describe a different type of AR, which is video see-through. So video see-through means the way you see the world is via a video, right? So basically, you have cameras on the headset, and these cameras are taking videos in real time and pass these videos onto the display, the display of the headset, and then the user can see the real-time video feed of the real world, and then by this way you can achieve AR. So this is what we call video see-through or video pass-through VR. So nowadays people are referring this kind of AR as MR, but I think it's always correct because MR is actually I think in my opinion it's a larger concept than AR. So that's MR. And XR is, I think it's really straightforward. It's everything because this is X, right? So X means extended reality, but it can mean AR is XR, MR is XR, VR is XR as well. And then the term spatial computing, I think it's a term I don't really have a like a sort of a definition for that, but I think it relates to the computer, right? So for the computing platform, the spatial computing platform should be able to sort of uh, process the information related not only to a digital world but also to a real world, right? So uh, basically, you are in a real world. You can take the information from the real world and then process that information and then combine that information with your digital information and do something really cool. So in that definition, I think AR is really something kind of can be used interchangeable with spatial computing. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sort of my take on these concepts.
yeah, thank you so much for explaining all the way from AR to spatial computing. I know for those tech enthusiasts who's been following the industry and have definitely heard about many of these concepts, especially where you were talking about optical see-through and video see-through. I think there were a lot
Right.
of discussions ongoing about is Apple finally determining what is VST. Yeah, for me, I think this concept of immersiveness is a digital experience that we've been trying to achieve for over decades. But finally, we are at this doorstep of defining this idea among a group of consumers. Like we are working in the consumer tech scene, and
Right.
I think it is really exciting that for us as community managers to discuss to open up discussions with real consumers to let everyone have a say here. Yeah, I really thank you
Right.
for sharing your
No
knowledge
problem.
with us. Okay, let's jump to the third question. I know the last big thing for OPPO in terms of XR is that we released our very first MR headset in California during this year's
Mhm.
Augmented World Expo, and you were on the stage on May 31st, one day before the holiday. I wanted to
Mhm.
invite you to share with us your feelings, like 24 hours
Mhm.
before stepping on the stage, and maybe also tell us a little bit about what's going on in this year's AWE.
Yeah. I think this year's AW is for me, in my opinion, it's different from previous years. I've been to AW for many years now, and previous years it was always feel it's the same, right? The same set of companies, headsets, and companies come and go. Some companies they disappeared, and then it's the same solution but maybe improved a little bit. But this year it feels different. It feels like the vibe is different. People are obviously everybody there were anticipating big announcements from Apple, and there are a lot of other movements. For example, Qualcomm is actually uh, working with a lot of OEMs and device makers to sort of build an ecosystem. I think this year's focus is uh, more on the sort of commercialization of XR technology, right? So I feel people now, uh, at least at the conference, people think like the commercialization is close than before. Before it was really a very technology heavy conference. So I think the vibe is really different this year for AWE. That's sort of my take. And with regarding to our device, I think it was really exciting. We worked on this for a while now. I think it has been a little bit around 2 years. We first had the idea of going into MR, I think around 2 years ago, and then it has been a very interesting process to work on this project from the conceptualization and to finally we can reveal this product to the developers. We are right now we are launching this device as a dev kit and trying to sort of kind of want to push forward uh, with the use case and applications. We want to see if the developers out there they can utilize this device to make some cool apps.
Yeah, making more valuable content, more valuable things for the consumers. I think this is the key for any consumer grade products. Yeah, you were talking about the
exactly.
difference in this AWE. I was also wondering, yeah, since you've been joining the company for quite some years, and you definitely know the ups and downs or the developments within this company or our attitudes towards XR and consumer grade products. I wanted to know, like, this release of a MR headset for developers team must be a very sophisticated decision. It's not something that we can just make a product and then, oh, it's just for developers. It must be after long discussions. And since different companies have different approaches, I think OPPO has been always very, very keen on consumer insights, and they had actually a good gene in knowing Chinese and global audiences after the over decades of know-how accumulation, and also our manufacturing capabilities and all the knowledge we have. I think some people would say that OPPO is always hesitant, but on the other hand, I also heard during like our last launch of the foldables, we introduced to the global audience that we don't want necessarily to be the first, but we want to be the best. And what's your take on the question? Is the MR product, consumer grade MR product ready? Given the fact that Apple has been launching finally its first seemingly consumer grade product or a product only for developers. There are a lot of different definition or explanations for this move. What's your take on this? I'm interested to know.
Yeah, I think our take, I think is that we feel it's really close, but it's not really ready for mass adoption. So basically, we can really make hardwares that can achieve a lot of these functionalities. But what's really lacking is really use cases, right? So for MR, it's very different from VR. For VR, there's really a very dedicated use case, which is gaming. And for basically, if we want to go to VR, you have to work with game developers to have a lot of games. But for MR, I think it's different, right? So we are looking at a different computing platform. So I would like to use an analogy of the different computing platforms. So we want to compare VR. If we compare VR as a gaming console, then MR it could be potentially be a laptop or the next iPad. Oh, sorry, the tablet, right? So not necessarily iPad, but tablets. So the potential is there, but I think we just don't know what are the use cases. Is that productivity? Is that communication? We don't know, but we want to get these hardwares into the hands of these creative developers, right? I think that's really important to that device first and then content for that. Then during this process, I think we can grow the ecosystem, and with more and more use cases, I would say it will be more closer to mass adoption. Right now, I think it's still a very sort of maybe a niche market, very small fraction of people who are really techies or people who are really interested in this would go ahead and purchase this product. But unless until the next step is really to build some use cases for this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I actually tried out the Pico 4 Pro a couple of days ago, and
Mhm.
I think for a lot of tech enthusiasts, they also bought some of the previous VR assets for gaming. Is a good
Right.
already a pretty good product in my view for gaming, but the issue is we don't have expansion of content. Like it's very reliant on the developers on the further improvements of this gaming experiences. And I think, yeah, at least for gaming scene, is already a pretty mature product, but it needs a lot of further investments from all sides. As of the
Yeah, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
as of the
Yes.
AR, I think the form factor is also kind of maturing itself, given the fact that some of the Chinese manufacturers are also introducing a lot of AR very light. Also, OPPO, we also introduced like
Right.
2 generations of AR headsets or assisted reality
Right.
glasses. I think the
Mhm.
form factors will be here to stay, but some of the technology, some of the key technology still need time to mature. And it reminds me of an interview with Sujie, our head of audio. He was also having a lot of concerns about how to quickly catch up with the transformation of the new form factor. Like we read about how immersiveness this spatial audio on the Apple Vision Pro, and I believe it is not something that can be done with a year. It is a long-term accumulation of technologies. And for any consumer grade product, the key to a seamless
Right.
experience is have the really good integration of hardware, software. I think for both parts, there are still a lot of catch-up work to do. So yeah, I also think MR consumer grade product
Mhm.
is on one way ready because a lot of manufacturers are pushing the products to the market, and on the other hand, there are a lot of catch-up
Right.
to really give users a satisfying experience on these products. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking
Right.
the
Right. Right.
time.
I think overall our goal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I just want to add, like, our ambition is really uh, to to build this next generation of computing platform, not a sort of a game platform, right? So I think that potential is much larger, uh, and also the market size will be much larger than a gaming platform.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like we were also discussing these days on both community, on OnePlus and OPPO community, and whether foldables are here to stay or whether
Mhm.
most of the users would swift to change to foldables. There are still a lot of obstacles for consumers. The biggest challenge is the price. Like we are
Yeah.
already cutting down a lot of the weight and also delivering the best camera on foldables, but still it's not a small
Mhm.
amount of money for the majority of the consumers. They really would love to see like 400, 500 US dollar consumer product uh, all in one. And I think a foldable is here also
Right.
like a first test whether we can make that happen. Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I think we can leave
Mhm.
some of the more interesting questions or discussions with our audiences, our consumer friends who are really keen
Yeah.
to have direct conversations with you. I know it's
Okay.
almost 11:30 by you in California. Really, thank you for taking this half hour with me. See
All right. Thank
you.
you for having me.
Yeah, see you in our AMA live.
All right. See you.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.